Hi everyone, welcome back to the Old Emo Dave channel. We're here with some highlights from our recent special standard showdown event where we were graced with the presence of the wonderful Duncan and Lewis from the Yogscast. If you ever want to catch us live, we are live on twitch.tv/oldemodave every Tuesday with some live standard. So let's get into what you're watching. This is what we call the classic burn mirror. Mono red versus mono red, both very strong in the current meta. And by Jack, who is one of our local players on the right, is sometimes referred to as one drop tribal because there's a load of powerful cards such as Monastery Swift Spear, Commander faces Kakazan, and the most recently printed Monstrous Rage from the Wilds of Eldraine that can really pump up your creatures. So we see 2 out of 3 of those cards in the first turn here. Duncan, who has Monastery Swift Spear on the field, is using a creature that has the term Prowess. Prowess will pump up your creature every time you cast a non-creature spell. So now that Duncan has played their own Commander faces Kakazan, that little 1/2 has gone to a 2/3 and is now going to attack, as well as do a 1 damage for the Commander faces Kakazan. So it's going to be key for both players to hit some element of tempo going forward in this game. Both starting off with early commandos means that when these sagas reach their chapter 2, which is the next turn after they've played, the creature that hits the battlefield is going to get an additional +1/+1 counter. So this Charming Scoundrel is a 1/1 creature, but it has a +1/+1 counter on it, making it a 2/2. Really important to force the tempo through. Now, Charming Scoundrel also has the ability to add a roll. That's an aura token that is going to give it an additional buff. So Jack is getting in for some more damage here and is currently ahead on the race, but Duncan has got more to come. Now, making good choices when you're playing the tempo is really important. We're going to see this here because Duncan is going to try and attempt to cast a shock on the Charming Scoundrel. Now, the Charming Scoundrel is not only a 1/1 creature, it has a 1/1 counter, and it also has a 1/1 buff on the roll. So actually, the shock was not going to be enough. However, in this fun and friendly format, Jack has decided to say, Duncan, do you want to take it back? He does. He casts a Lightning Strike. That removes the creature. It also buffs the Monastery Swift Spear, and then they get in for an additional 2. That's exactly the kind of casual and fun format the standard can be when played at your local game store. We now see both players following up with some good tempo. Jack has got down 2 creatures on the field, and here we have Duncan following up with a 3rd. This reinforced rolling has its plus side on being a 2/2 for just 1 mana and also having haste, but it does unfortunately go back to your hand at the end of the turn. Buffing up his creatures even further here with Monstrous Rage, the +2/+0 and a monster roll token is going to grow the Swift Spear and keep that buff on it whilst it remains on the battlefield. So really good targeting here from Duncan to actually focus on the Swift Spear, which is going to get a long-term benefit from this monster roll. As we go to attacks here, Duncan is getting in for somewhere in the region of 8 attack. Yeah, it was 8 attack. The reinforced rolling going back to the hand is going to mean there's another threat coming next turn that Jack knows fully about, so maybe a little bit more hesitant to attacking with the creatures here on this element. But Mono Red does what Mono Red does, and it comes straight in and is now looking to Scorching Shot away the very dangerous Monastery Swift Spear. That is probably the only way he could have saved himself from dying next turn. That means the monster roll token goes away, but the guard is down, the door is open. If Duncan can get in for the final bits of damage here, we were potentially looking at a 1/0 to the Yogscast. You can see in hand, he has a lot of burn spells, including the Monstrous Rage and also the Shock. So if he can find a line here to get it over the line, we could be looking at a GG. There's the Monstrous Rage added on. I think Jack is understanding. He may be in trouble here. And there's the shock. And there's the shock. Jack, very experienced player, understands he saw a shock earlier when Duncan went to cast it on turn 2. But there we go. Victory on Duncan's side. He takes it to 1-0 as we go to what we call the sideboarding. Sideboarding is where you can go to your 15 cards that are on the side of your deck, not included in the main deck, and swap out as many cards as you like, as long as you still have at least 60 cards in your main deck to play games 2 and 3. Whilst they're thinking about their choices, let's talk a little bit about our sponsor. All of our games are filmed at Firestorm Games, and they support the channel by giving us a link for you guys to pick up all your hobbycraft material, be that Warhammer, Magic the Gathering, even plushies and Pokemon. You can grab that from Firestorm Games, one of the biggest gaming shops in the UK, and also the best facility possibly in Europe, even the world. You can come down and join us and play the games live and in person. But if you don't want to, the links in the description will help us put on more games, give more value back to the players, and really support the channel. The guys just finished up sideboarding. Let's get into game 2, but thank you once again to you and to Firestorm Games for helping out the channel. So for those of you who may be new to the 60 card format, you're new to TCG, so you're coming from Commander, in a best out of 3 is a tradition that if you lose the first game, you go first in the second game. Not always the case, you do get a choice, but you do have Jack going first here in game 2. And he doesn't have a turn run play, which can be quite devastating to actual tempo, especially with Duncan getting straight in with a Monastery Swiftspear. However, Jack did have a plan and played the play with fire, which actually meant then the Swiftspear's off the board. What this actually then means for Jack is he can reinforce advantage with the 2 mana as he's coming in with the Bloodthirsty Adversary, one of the strongest red cards that is in standard right now. So when you're playing a red mirror, sometimes it's the player who goes second that needs to be the one who turns into what we know as the controlling player. The player who goes first is essentially what we know as the beatdown. But what we should be seeing from Duncan is an attempt to either regain tempo and go faster, or control what threats Jack is throwing at him. Jack with 2 open mana does lightning strike the Monastery Swiftspear, taking it off the board and continuing to push the tempo. It seems only like a little 2 mana beater, but the fact that it's in straight away and causing the damage is massive. We have a follow-up here from Duncan with the Felden Ronin Excavator, which again is a very powerful haste card. And Jack is also keeping that tempo up with a Yogscast Forge. Every turn this will create a token. It starts as a 1/1, then becomes a 2/1, then a 3/1. So if for any reason this game goes long, Jack is going to have a really big hasty creature coming in and threatening Duncan's face. What you do see sometimes in Magic though is the tokens can be hard to come by. All you need to do in Magic is represent on the field something like a cardboard piece, the back of a sleeve. Even you could draw your own tokens. That's why the game is so inclusive. You ideally just need to what we call represent your board state so that your opponent knows exactly what's coming your way. A couple of traded turns back here, and this means that this little yellow square is a 2/1, so that's got in for some more damage. And Duncan really needs to deal with these threats, especially the threat of the Yogscast Forge. Being an artifact, that is sometimes a bit difficult to get rid of when you're in the colors of red, so we really need to see some power plays here. But at the moment, stuck on 2 mana, Duncan may be in a slot that this is going to game 3 already. However, doing really well here, using the shock to deal with the Bloodthirsty Adversary, playing a Ronin, getting in for 4 is really going to help. But as we can see, Jack has a plan again, uses that lightning strike. It may not be 3 damage to Duncan's face, but it is 2 damage less to Jack's face. Jack knows he has the Yogscast Forge ticking up, and the Yogscast Forge ticking up means he's going to have a 3/1, then a 4/1, then potentially a 5/1 on the upcoming turns. So this essential, what we call race, is currently being won by our man on the right. Duncan is by far from out of it though. A big turn of pace and a lot of creatures to the board will mean that this creature that's attacking every turn won't get that opportunity to fight. A commander faces Kakazan. When it comes in, does 1 damage, so can be very impactful. But 3 mana to play with now for Duncan. Will this change things? They've had some cards in hand for quite some time, looking to get in. Ooh, get in with a double monstrous rage. This would be close to lethal. Now what Jack's just reminding Duncan here is you don't have to play them all at once, because in between you playing a spell, your opponent gets the choice to respond to a spell. Now this is a lot of damage coming in with 1 mana open. Jack's going to have to deal with, and he can. Witch Stalker Frenzy usually costs 4, but it gets reduced for every creature that's attacking. So because there's one creature attacking, it becomes 3. And what would have potentially swung this game to Duncan has been wiped off the board. As Duncan shows, he had the shock and would have been in a position to win from here. Unlucky there, Duncan. GG's to you, Jack. We just need to finish up by doing the last bits of damage. Duncan played out his cards. You never know with Magic. You can always come from behind. There is that famous Lightning Helix meme where they top deck the winning card, but no. Let's let the guys go to another round of sideboarding where we're going to plug the channel. If you're still with us and you like Magic the Gathering content, anything to do with cozy TCGs or hobbies, follow the channel. Or follow us on Twitch where we will live stream these games. And we'll also have giveaways for Magic the Gathering Online, Magic the Gathering Arena, and basically just have a great time. We also talk on TikTok about Magic the Gathering, so feel free to follow us there. You can find us basically on every social media platform under Old Emo Dave. Yes, the hairline is gone, but I'm still an emo at heart. And we're here playing games, having fun with our families and friends. So as they sideboard around, you see some change-ups being made for like the middle game. You got a bit of a reverse sort of roles here now. Duncan will be more on the front foot. Jack will be more on the back foot. And it's about who can take that momentum swing in the first couple of turns. So let's see how this one plays out. Just something for you to know. What happens after every shuffle up is you do present your deck to your opponent for them to cut. Now, in some friendlier games, you'll have people go, nah, you're okay. But when you're at your first F&M or you've gone down to locals, always make sure you're presenting it until basically your opponent looks you in the eye and goes, yeah, you're good, just carry on. Always got to keep the integrity of the game up. Whilst we see Duncan getting straight in with a Monastery Swift Spear and having a great start. Now, Jack holding up 1 red mana. We have seen this play before. We play with fire. Let's see what comes as a response to this Monastery Swift Spear trying to get in for more damage. And surprisingly to Jack, he's seeing a 2-drop. Now this unconventional creature, Kessig Flamebreaker, will do 1 damage to each opponent every time a non-creature spell is played. So you can see Duncan maybe taking it a little bit slower here and taking that additional power off Kessig to actually get the damage in. And Jack has played nothing. 2 lands in and he has done no damage. Duncan follows up with a Commando Faces Kakazan, which will trigger the Flamebreaker. And also, we'll get a prowess on the Monastery Swift Spear. This is quick, and this is looking fantastic from Duncan's side. Tapping 3 red. They are going I believe, a Lightning Strike straight to face. Dealing all the damage. This Monastery Swift Spear has 2 prowess assigned to it. So before that happens, Jack is going to do a Lightning Strike to take it away. Now, there's a lot of damage already done. The Kessig Flamebreaker can get in for 1 themselves, so is going to go ahead and do that. Whilst we see Jack getting the Eurobrask's Forge back out onto the battlefield. Now, still very much on the front foot. Duncan is looking like they got the commanding lead. A shock straight to the face is now meaning that Jack's life total is whittling down. But you will find when there's more mana on the field, these bodies are going to come into play that's going to stop any ground attacks. So there's a Monastery Swift Spear. Jack now thinking about what to do next. Here comes his 2-1, because this is the second activation of the Eurobrask's Forge. Looking to tick down Duncan here. Thinking about, do I attack with a Monastery Swift Spear? Because maybe I need a blocker, but the Kessig Flamebreaker is only ever going to be 1 damage. So that's the main thinking here. One of the benefits of the Commander Faces Kakazan is when it hits number 3 on the turn options, it flips over and it becomes a 2/2 that's an attacker. So this can really help get you in for damage. We're going to do 3 damage to the Kessig Flamebreaker, and due to the fact... Oh no, we didn't have the opportunity to block actually, so that will be taking 2 damage. So Jack comes along with a Charming Scoundrel. We've seen this card before. It's buffed up to be a 2/2 thanks to the roll token. The Eurobrask's Forge is now a 3/1. We said this in the previous game. This particular card becomes devastating with the amount of power that can come out of nowhere. And now we're going to do a Witch Stalker Frenzy onto the Shaman. Because of the fact there's 3 creatures attacking, it only costs 1 red mana. There's 1 more red, and there's a Monastery Swift Spear from Duncan's side. But can only get in for 1 because there's no prowess buffs. Let's see what Jack has with 3 cards in hand. Can he close out this game? The Eurobrask's Forge is going to go to 4. So we are ready before any buffs have 7 attacking. How much damage is going to come across? A lightning strike straight to face. That is GG. Congrats to Jack. But Duncan, what a fantastic run out for your first F&M with Standard. You were 2-1 on the night. What a great result. Thanks for joining us, yourself and Lewis, and you're welcome anytime in the future to play more Standard Showdown with us. And if you've made it to the end of the video, please say we love the Yogscast in the comments. Tag them and let's see if they can come here and see the video for themselves. They're welcome to react to it and do their own commentary. Thanks very much for that as well. Come join us for more action each week by subbing to the channel, checking out the Twitch. We're part of the MTGO Creator Program, so there'll be many cool things and fun things happening. More videos to come. Thanks a lot. Give love to the Yogscast. Give love to me on the channel here. I will see you on TikTok, X, Instagram, everywhere else where you can find Old Emo Dave. Thanks for watching.